Good to have you here today. We don't want to keep you out in the cold for too long, but thank you very much for being here. The year sixes, when we're finished here, who's the tallest in the class? Come forward. Can you stand next to the wall? See if you can touch the blue line.
Just.
Does everyone know what the blue line means?
It's how cool it is.
No? No? That's how high the water came. So, every single child in this school is too small to survive the flood. That's a lot of water. And that's why we're here today, because we remember with sadness those who died, what might seem a long time ago to some of you, but also remember our commitment to care for each other in our town. Thanks very much. Go back to your place. Before I hand over to the Mayor, Jean McPherson's here from the Felixstowe Society. Wave your hand, Jean. If you have any memories of the flood, please talk to Jean afterwards. Even if you think she's already got the story, tell her again, because she's quite deaf. No. She needs remind. No, there are still stories out there that haven't been told. Mr. Mayor.
Good morning. Morning, adults. Morning, children. This is warm for a memorial, isn't it? Yeah, 67 years ago, 41 people died. It's a real tragic day for our town. Some of us here remember it. Some of us have relatives that perished in it. And we will never forget this day. It is our worst tragedy. We don't ever want it to happen again, but it is a horrible day and we must remember them. So thank you. Pass you over to Andrew.
I'm going to hand straight over to two of our children who are going to read about a storm.
When Jesus has finished teaching, he was tired. So he called his closest friends, and together they piled into a boat and set off across the lake for home.
Jesus yawned, he stretched, he laid his head down, and to the rhythm of the waves and the rocking of the boat, he fell asleep. It was a perfect end to a perfect day.
And then suddenly, and a wild wind stirred the waves up tall and stormy. The boat rocked right, the boat rocked left. The boat rocked up and down. The boat rocked so hard, in fact, that Jesus' friends were sure they would all drown.
But Jesus slept right through it, except from the old snuffle and snore.
Jesus, his friends called at last. Jesus, wake up! We're all going to drown. So Jesus woke up, and then he sat up. Then he rubbed his eyes and stood up. It was all anybody else could do to stay on their feet, but Jesus stood up, and then, very calmly, he said to the wind, "Quiet now," and he said to the waves, "Settle down," and they did.
Then Jesus turned to his friends and said, "You didn't need to be frightened. You didn't have to worry. All you had to do was trust me. See, everything is calm."
And so it was. The sky was blue, the lake too, and the little waves splashed happily out the side of the boat. It was a perfect day again.
Thank you very much, children.
Yeah.
I'm going to read out the names one by one. As each name's read out, one of the children will lay a light on the stones in the memorial. Who's going first? Aircraftsman David Sibbett, aged 18. Sergeant Cyril Tidswell. Vera Brew. Normal Bushnell, age 30. His wife Jean Bushnell, aged 26. Their son Keith Bushnell, aged 2. And their daughter Brenda Bushnell, who was just 6 months old. Jack Salmon, who was 37. His wife Stella, who was 37 as well. And their son Robin, who was 8 years old. Frederick Flather, aged 33. And his wife Annie, who was aged 34. And their daughters Janet, aged 7. And Suzanne, aged 4. Warrant Officer Raymond Pettit, 28 years old. His wife Sheila, who was 25.
25.
His son Brian, who was 6. And their daughter Gillian, who was 2 years old. Muriel Allery, who was 29. And her daughter Sally, who was 4. Arthur Cobb, who was 58. Thomas Collins, who was 79 years old. Iris Sad, who was 32. And her 4-year-old daughter Patricia. Lucy Bridge, who was 85. And Julia Burkitt, who was 76. William Dement, 45 years old. His wife Stella, who was 43. And Keith Dement, their son, who was 8. Annie Hazelden, who was 84. Alfred Howell, who was 77. Margaret Johnson, who was just 5 years old. Ronald Studd was 38. George Taylor, 84 years old. And his wife Mary, who was 72 years old. Reginald Terry, who was 42. And his wife Gladys, who was 40. Joan Todd, who was 34. And her daughter Angela, who was 6. Staff Sergeant Jack Short. And the final one, Alison Watkins, 4 years old. Listen carefully, children. In the prayers now, every time I say a sentence, at the end of the sentence, will you say the words, we remember them. You practice that? We remember them.
We remember them.
In the rising of the sun and its going down.
We remember them.
In the blowing of the wind and in the chill of winter.
We remember them.
In the blueness of the sky and in the warmth of summer.
We remember them.
In the rustling of leaves and in the beauty of autumn.
We remember them.
In the crashing of the wave and the turning of the tide.
We remember them.
In our days at school and our times of play. In our waking and our sleeping, kept safe in our homes.
We remember them.
Go forth into the world as pilgrims of God, upheld by the hands of Him who created you. Go forth to discover new life in Christ, Son of the living God who died for you. Go in the strength and joy of God's Spirit, whose indwelling power will renew you. Go in the name of the Holy Trinity, to light the lamps of justice and peace with the oil of righteousness. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you very much, children.